You know, every now and then, a story breaks that feels like it's straight out of a spy thriller. We're talking secret border crossings, drone deliveries all the way from Europe, and a brutal civil war. And right at the center of it all, a string of really mysterious arrests happening across India.
So who are we talking about? Well, get this. It's 6 Ukrainians and 1 American. These are the 7 people at the absolute heart of this mystery. They were taken into custody by India's National Investigation Agency, that's the NIA, and it sparked an international incident that has huge implications for the entire region.
And here's what's so wild. These arrests didn't happen in some remote village on the border. Nope, they happened in major international airports in huge cities. But the authorities are alleging that their final destination wasn't India at all. It was next door, in Myanmar, a country that's being completely torn apart by conflict.
Now, this is where things get really serious. It's so crucial to understand this point. Indian authorities aren't just accusing them of, a visa violation. Not at all. They are facing charges under India's main anti-terror law. The accusation is that they were part of a conspiracy to actively support armed groups inside Myanmar. And that just raises this massive question. What in the world is going on across that border?
Okay, so to really get why these arrests are such a big deal, we need to zoom out a little bit. We have to understand the war they're accused of trying to join. You see, Myanmar has been sliding deeper and deeper into a civil war for years now, and it's all happening right there, on India's eastern doorstep.
So how did we get here? Well, the whole thing really kicked into high gear back in February 2021. That's when the military, which is known as the Tatmadaw, staged a coup and took over the country. In response, a sort of shadow government formed its own army, the People's Defense Force. By September, they declared a defensive war. And more recently, since late 2023, a whole coalition of rebel forces has been making huge gains, capturing town after town.
And the human cost of all this fighting, it is just staggering. According to the UN, that's the number of people inside Myanmar who've been forced to flee their homes. Just think about that. It's a humanitarian crisis on an absolutely massive scale.
So who exactly is fighting who in this pretty complex war? Well, when you boil it all down, it's basically 2 main sides going head-to-head.
All right, so on one side, you've got the military junta. They're the ones who took power in that 2021 coup. Then on the other side, you have this incredibly diverse, sprawling alliance of opposition groups. It's made up of the civilian government in exile, their army, and a whole bunch of different ethnic armed groups who've been fighting for their rights for decades. They're all united against military rule.
Okay, so with all that context in mind, let's circle back to those 7 foreigners arrested in India. What are they specifically being accused of doing to help the opposition?
Well, according to India's NIA, the whole plan was pretty elaborate. They say the group came into India perfectly legally, on tourist visas. But from there, they traveled to a protected area, Mizoram, without the special permits you need. Then they allegedly crossed the border into Myanmar to meet up with armed opposition groups, give them training, and, get this, arrange for a shipment of drones to be sent over from Europe.
And just to really hammer home how serious this is, the charges were filed under the UAPA. This is not some minor immigration issue. This is India's main anti-terrorism law. It's a kind of law that's usually reserved for things that are seen as a threat to the country's actual sovereignty.
So the second you hear that American and Ukrainian citizens are involved, your mind immediately goes to, well, bigger geopolitical games, right? Unsurprisingly, as soon as this news broke, the internet just lit up with people trying to connect the dots.
You see comments like this one, taken right from a Reddit discussion, all over the place. Now look, this is pure speculation, obviously, but it shows you what a lot of people are thinking. That maybe this isn't just about a few individuals. Maybe it's part of some bigger, covert operation.
But here's the thing. While all that online chatter is just that, chatter, the direct military involvement of another huge global power in Myanmar's war is not speculation. It is a 100% documented fact. We are talking about Russia. Moscow is without a doubt the Myanmar junta's most important friend on the world stage. They have supplied them with some seriously advanced weapons. We're talking Su-30 fighter jets, attack helicopters, military-grade drones, and even satellite intelligence. This support gives the junta a massive advantage, especially in the air. So let's just step back and look at the whole picture. We've got these arrests in India, a raging civil war right next door, tons of speculation about Western spies, and confirmed hardcore Russian military support for the junta. All of these different threads are suddenly starting to come together.
And that brings us to the final, really critical question. These arrests have pulled back the curtain. and they've shown just how international Myanmar's war has become. You have citizens from countries that are on opposite sides of other global conflicts now directly tangled up in this. So you just have to ask, is this brutal civil war slowly turning into a new proxy battleground for global powers, happening right on India's border?